All right. It's okay. So now tell me, of course, I'll use the PowerPoint. Tell me, what do you remember from the chapter 3? What chapter 3 is all about? Anyone?
So um, Arjuna starts with asking question that if Krishna suggests that action is more important than knowledge, then why he's asking him to, sorry, knowledge is more important than action, then why he's asking him to fight.
Very good.
Um,
Very
and
good.
then Krishna starts explaining the um, uh, karma yoga,
Mhm.
including Nishkam Karma Yoga. Um, so
Mhm.
I don't remember in sequence, but I'll. Uh,
Mhm.
um, so Krishna talks about importance of the yajna and karma kanda,
Mhm.
and he suggested Arjuna uh, action over knowledge, meaning karma yoga, because for Gyan yoga, the prerequisite to have purity of, um, freedom from material desires. Um, um, and to do that, I think one has to go through the Nishkam Karma yoga. Um, and then Krishna emphasizes the importance of the Karma Kanda and Yajna, how it's important for the symbiotic relationship between human and devtas, um, and prosperity of human beings. Um, and then Arjuna asks, what is it that makes me do the wrong things? And then Krishna explains that it's the desire which is born out of rajoguna. And then he also talks about that where it lives, um, and suggests Arjun to kill it, um, and that's the way to I think suggest to fight Arjuna. So that's the summary I recall.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Uh, Now, if somebody has to further summarize the chapter, if you have to give one word to the chapter 3, what that would be to everyone? If you have to just describe the chapter 3 in single word, what do you think it
Karma
might
yoga.
be? Karma
Karma
yoga.
yoga.
Okay, that's one. What else? Anything else?
निष्काम कर्म योग.
Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay. Okay. So Nishkam Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga. What else?
Set a right example for the others to follow by doing the prescribed duties.
Okay. Just give me one word, not sentence. One word. Try to give one word, two word. Yeah.
Stita prajna.
Sthita Pragya. Sthit Pragya was in chapter 2.
Two.
Two. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, chapter 2. Yeah. Okay. So one way you can think chapter 3 is all about duty. What is our duty? Right? And for that, it goes into the principle of Karma Yoga. And then he says, within the Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga is the best. Right? So duty. Um, I think, and similarly, chapter 2, if you think you have to describe the chapter 2 in one word, what that would be? What, Prabhu?
Sankhya Yoga.
Sankhya Yoga.
Sankhya
Okay.
yoga.
What else?
Knowledge of soul.
Knowledge of soul.
Or
Okay.
identity.
Identity. Yes. So one word, if you can describe chapter 2, identity. Okay. The chapter 1,
His queries is about the query, right?
about the
Arjun
makes
Vishad.
us
The sadness.
Arjun Vishad Yoga.
Arjun Visad Yoga. Yeah, but okay, that's the name of the chapter. Uh, if you have to describe in one word, do you have your own words, which is more practical? See, we are going to the practical aspect, right? Chapter 3 is the duty, right? What is our duty? Chapter 2 is identity. We are not the body, we are the soul. That's our identity. Who's that's the real identity? Chapter 1 was about, from that perspective,
problems of the human.
yeah, means confusion, decision.
And
So you can put one word, right? Like it's all confusion, then decision, maybe making the decision, right? So that's what it is. Okay, so I'll quickly, very fast, I'll go over it. Okay. So this was chapter 2, right? Arjuna indecision, and then what is the who we are, right? So that's the chapter 2 was there. And then as Prabhu said that it was about at the chapter 2 is withdraw your senses. So identity, right? So chapter 2 taught us about the identity, and that through that identity the chapter 3 is telling what is our duty, how we should act. Okay, so that's what is talking about. Now what is our eternal dharma? And that's where the Arjuna's discussion starts, right? He asks, as Prabhu mentioned, that whether I should fight or I should renounce. Then what Krishna says? What does Krishna says?
Your duty.
Yeah, duty is more important for you, right? Duty is more important for you.
Duty.
Yes, your Swadharma. Okay, Swadharma is more important. And we went over all this concept, Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, that the purpose of the yoga is the same, that we want to have self-realization. But having the self-realization through the Karma Yoga is much better. Okay, so goal is the same, but for the people who are in the Grahastha life, the right thing is to do our duty, and we shouldn't go to the false renunciation. Okay, so here what Arjuna was thinking, that action means there is reaction, no action means no reaction. What did we learn? Is this the right understanding for Arjuna? Like no action means no reaction, is that true? So what is wrong with this?
It's not about the physical doings, it's about the result of the action. You should not expect the reason to be reason for the reason. Has to just to do the running. Not expect the results to enjoy the results of that particular path.
Yeah, so
You should
see,
sacrifice that.
no action means reaction. So let's say we are supposed to do our action, right? We are all supposed to do action. If I'm not doing any action, I'm incurring a reaction. I'm being lazy. So I'm getting all the sin, that I'm wasting my life, but I'm wasting my body. So I am going to get the reaction. Okay. So whatever is my duty, that needs to be performed. If a husband is not performing his duty as a husband, he is incurring reaction. If the wife is not doing it, she is incurring reaction. Okay. So similarly, anything. So no action means no reaction is not a correct understanding. That's what Krishna explained. So every person has a certain nature, and every person has a certain duty. So that was the false renunciation. If somebody is doing that, okay, I won't do the inaction, they are going to get the reaction because they are doing the false renunciation. Okay, so that's what uh, chapter in the initial phase of the chapter 3 talked about. What is the learning? For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. So spiritual or religious life is not for show off, nor is it any kind of fashion. It is a serious responsibility for self-progress. So this is a very serious thing. When see, if you now we are on chapter 3, we have spent around 6 month time. If you see that, if you feel that you are getting really serious, it's a good progress. If you see sometimes here and there, you have to really work hard and see that why you're not getting determination. Where is it like I'm not developing conviction? Why I'm not developing conviction? What is missing? Am I missing that I'm not doing service? Is it missing that I'm not doing chanting? There must be something missing. And that means that's how we can determine whether if my desire to grow is not becoming stronger, our practices are lacking somewhere. So that is very important. Okay. So here 3.9 says, don't perform just karma, perform karma yoga. So work as a duty, work as a sacrifice. So the duty what we are doing is a sacrifice, because I am, why it is a sacrifice? So working, why it is a sacrifice?
Because we are offering the results to Krishna.
Very good. We are offering result to Krishna. We could be enjoying for our myself, for my own body. I'm not doing that. I am performing my duty. So that's a sacrifice I am making. Okay. So that Krishna sees that, oh, this person is not after sense gratification. This person is, he or she wants to elevate in the life. Then Krishna helps. He gives the mercy. And through that mercy, then we come into contact with the devotee or the guru. All right. So we talked about the needs and desires, right? So of course, meeting our minimum needs, that is required. That is okay. But then spending time on the desire is not okay, because then we are wasting our time. Then we are wasting our time. Okay. So 10 and 11, it raises some question like, what is creation? What is the purpose of creation? What is the universal governing principle? Right? Why we exist, our role in the creation, purpose of our creation. Uh, and this 10 and 11, now it goes into the cycle, how the demigods are there, devatas are there, and they work together with the humans to make sure this universe continue to function. There is a role. This is like an ecosystem, and that's the people who are performing the karma yoga. They have to pay oblations to the demigods. In terms, demigod provide them what they need. So this is the purpose of the people who are who wants to live only on the platform of the karma yoga. So they are not coming to the level of bhakti yoga, but they are living at the level of karma yoga. So these are the things we talked about, that they are empowered administrator. All the devatas are empowered administrators. Krishna gives them certain power, and through that they take care of our needs. Right? For example, Ganesh is for intelligence, Saraswati is for learning. So we went over these concepts. And those who don't perform sacrifice, then what happens? They're called thief. And for them, because they are thief, because they are not, I'm getting the stuff from the manifestation, but I am not giving anything in return. I will be considered a thief, and we get punished for that. Punishment, see, let's say I'm earning money, right? And I'm thinking, it is all my effort, all my labor. This is my money. You'll see that most probably it's just a matter of time. I will come into misery, I'll get sick, money will be just flying here and there, it will just getting wasted, or I'll keep working like a madman, like a dog, and then at certain age something will happen, I'll die. So I would never able to use the money, right? I was just working like a crazy person, and I never did the charity. The money just gets wasted, because the money doesn't belong to us. This is Krishna's money. And if we think that way, this is Krishna's money, and accordingly we use that money for the service of Krishna, you will enjoy, we will get the fulfillment within this life. This is joy in giving. And as you start giving more and more, you would like to give even more. There's a joy in giving, especially for Krishna. Okay, so we talked about the ecosystem, how the whole ecosystem rain, and how the crops are coming, and then again it goes back into the cloud, right? How the whole system works. And this is offering water, right? Just like, nothing belongs to us. It just like when we go to the Gangaji, we take the Gangaji water and offer to Ganga, right? Nothing belongs to us. Similarly, the money doesn't belongs to us. Money came from the Lord. We became an instrument, and as an instrument, we got that money. We take that money, we give it back to the person who gave it to us, right? It's just intention that is counting. It's not that We have earned that money, right? Money has come from the world. Okay, so then there was a verse that we should offer everything to the Lord and then eat. If we don't do that, then invariably we are eating the sin. So that was verse 13. And this is how we are interdependent, right? Supreme Lord, He gave the Veda. Vedas have the prescribed duty, and the prescribed duty for the people who are only want to live on the platform of karma. They don't want to go beyond that. For the platform of karma, there is a sacrifice, and when one does the sacrifice, there are rains. Through the rains, there is food grains, and food grains then help us to sustain our life. And then using that, then we again try to think, oh, who is Supreme Lord? We do the inquiry, and this is how the Karma Yoga system works by the cooperation between the human and the demigods by the function of um, the sacrifice. So, what is the lesson? Anybody would like to lead the lesson? Read the lesson.
A grateful person thanks God for everything and remains grateful forever. One who has gratitude in his heart is filled with contentment.
Very good. So, grateful person. So, being grateful to all the things which we have received in our life, right? And we have to just think a little bit and see, then we'll see the hand of Lord. Otherwise, there is an illusion. We are under the illusion. We think that we are the doer, that all things are happening through me. Then we will be invariably will be getting into a lot of misery, and we won't be able to come out of this. So, and once we start seeing that we are the soul and part of the super soul, our identity has changes, then we will become more self-aware. We will be seeing that how the hand of God is there in everything, whatever we are doing. Okay. So there was the concept of Vikarma, Karma Kanda, and Karma Yoga. Okay. Um, what is what is within the Karma Yoga? What is how we should think, how we should work?
As a sacrifice to the Vishnu.
Yeah, Vishnu as a Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay, then it then the section goes how one needs to work, right, as a matter of duty. This is now where Krishna starts saying that, see, I also work. I don't need to perform any work. I also work. He gives the example of Janak Maharaj, that how, and then how he's telling that how the leaders, they set the example, and their people who are followers, the citizen, they follow it. And if the leader is good, they are setting the example, then the citizen will become like the leader. So becoming a servant leader, that's how we should work. So as a husband, if you are a leader, you are seen as a leader in the household. If you show the right path in your family by becoming what you want them to become, which is you serve. You serve your wife, you serve your kids in a way that it is a service to the Lord through them. Right? If you can show that this is how you do it, they will just follow you. And as they grow, they will become Krishna conscious like you. Now Krishna is he's saying it's easy to say but difficult to do. Right? So he's telling that was telling in a way he's answering a question, destruction of dynasty, right? The tradition will be destroyed. He's telling that if we don't do the work, then we are going to get sin. So we all must work. Okay, so I just moved quickly. Okay, so here. So ignorant person thinks himself the doer, we just talked about, right? Then who is the doer? Who is the doer? If we are
Five
not the
elements.
doer, what, Prabhuji?
The five elements constitutes the doer.
Yeah, so that will be in chapter 18. Just think that we are one part of the doership. There are other things which is coming into the picture. We are just one instrument. And then what Krishna in 32 says, yes, for me, give up your personal desire and also lethargy and fight for me. Those who works like this will be free from bondage. So through our work, we will become free. Otherwise, bondage. And how is the bondage? What is our bondage?
We are doing sense enjoyment, we get the reaction.
Yeah, but what is binding us? So
that reaction is bonding us.
and but in the practical term, what is binding us? So
The
okay,
cycle of birth and death.
that is cycle of birth and that, but okay. But you see, in practical way, do you think your family is binding you? Do you think your work is binding you? Do you think that your desire is binding you? What do you think?
Decides.
Desires.
Desires are binding us. And then through that desire, our relationship can bind us. Because if my desire is to enjoy in my family, I think that my wife should give me all the enjoyment. That is binding me, because then what's going to happen? That is not sustainable. Okay. So wife will think that why I should be helping my husband to get what he wants. He should provide me everything what I want. Now there's a stalemate, and that is a bondage, because then the fight is happening. We are getting more in karmic reaction. So you understand how relationship can be liberating, and if you don't think in a right way, then it can be binding. For most people, the relationship is binding. It is a bondage. Okay, so when we say condition, that we are conditioned, what does it mean?
It's the sanskar in our Sukshma body.
Samskar. So our nature, you are thinking our nature, um, that is one conditioning. Okay. What else? Or describe further.
Our old habits are on.
Rajagun, Tamugun, and Satagun.
Yeah, so that is the how these three gunas are binding us. But when we say condition, what is conditioned? What is conditioned?
Our mental status, probably, like
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So what is conditioned is our identity, right? Who we are. That
yeah.
gets conditioned. And that get conditioned through illusion. And what is the illusion? What is the illusion?
That we are
That we
body,
are
not
body,
soul.
not the soul.
We are the body, and then I think I am the controller. I can control the things. And that's called avidya, and that is what's binding us. Okay. And that is called condition. That is our conditioning. And in that conditioning, we have all these four defect, right? We come under illusion, we make mistake, and to make mistake, we hide and we cheat. So these are the property what we have. So illusion create all those because these four defects I have, and I'm under illusion, then that leads to this karmic band, and that's our conditioning. That's how we are conditioned. And only way to liberate is through by how we can liberate ourselves. What the chapter 3 says? What is the message of chapter 3?
Like we do work as a matter of duty.
Yes.
Don't
Nish,
get attached.
yes, Nishkam Karma Yoga, offer our result of the work to Krishna. That will become liberation. Okay. Now, anybody would like to read the lesson? What is the lesson?
Only by doing work according to one's psychological nature, one gets material happiness and one gets satisfaction in material activities.
Yes. Okay. So, working as per our psychophysical nature is very important. Okay. Now, this from here, what happens? What is the intent of Arjuna? What he's trying to ask.
That forcing a person to do sinful activity.
Yeah. And what is that?
It's a desire.
Desire, lust.
Lust.
Lust, right? So what? And so here we spend time. What are the places of lust? Sitting places. And then he said like how like the three different level of covering, right? We are humans are like a smoke, like a fire, right? The animals are dust, mirror, and the womb and embryo. So analogy was used. Um, so how to fight the enemy? This is the strategy. We said that okay, how to fight the enemy? We need to identify what we need to identify.
Where it
Where
is.
is
Where
the
it lives.
Where he
who is the
lives.
enemy? Where is the enemy?
Yeah. So this is then Krishna talks about three places: senses, mind, intelligence. And then he says that how to go and win over the enemy. So which is the whatever is the weaker area, we attack there, right? So senses is weak area, that's we attack. So we talked about that. Okay, so here is what we have gone into a lamentation, identity, duty. Okay, next chapter is about know, learn, what we need to know. So chapter 4 is what is real knowledge. Okay, we have all got the material knowledge. Someone is doctor, someone is engineer, someone is a businessman. But what is the real knowledge? Okay, and that's what chapter 4 will be talking about. So what are some of the lessons which we learned in this chapter 3? Desires. So tell me about the first lesson. Say just like few words here. What do you understand from point number 1? How it purifies, Prabhu?
Yeah, we should have desires, spiritual desires, not just material desires to fulfill. Material desires are for self-satisfaction, whereas spiritual are for satisfaction of Krishna.
So what you're telling that if we replace our desire to enjoy the material desire with the spiritual desire, then that will become purifying. That will purify us. Okay, very good. And then second was accept law of karma. What does it mean?
So one should act according to his nature, and we cannot simply uh, renunciate from the work without purification, right?
Very good, very good. Point number 3, live people centered. What does it mean? So see, we are all souls, right? We are all souls. Other people also have soul. Okay. So because we know that we are all part and parcel of the Lord, everybody has to work, right? Then we are here to support each other. In that case, we should live a very people-centric life. So of course, we need to be aware that there are demigods and other people. But in general, for all practical purpose, if we are aware of this concept, then we can live a better life. That's point number 3. Point number 4, fight the inner battle. What is the inner battle?
So inner battle, the fight against the lust and the where where it mentions like where it actually resides, knowing where is the lust, like whether it is senses, the possible places, and then fight according to the instructions given. Like first we should engage the senses or control the senses, and then mind, and then intelligence. So step by step we should attack the lust. So that is the battle that is started.
Very good. Fight the inner battle. And then the last point, encourage and guide.
Yeah, this one being in culture at this place. I mean, be a role model for the followers by doing right issues activities, and which people we will take as a guide and follow.
So that's very good
Set
point.
the right example. I mean.
Yeah, so that's very good point. Yet you see this, if you look from the other angle, chapter 3 is telling, oh, we have the lust. Lust is the problem. But then it encourages us, is guiding us that, yeah, there is a lust, acknowledge it, but how can you come out of it? You can fight that enemy, right? So it's encouraging us. It's that, oh, I have the lust, means there is no way I can leave this world, means I'll be always in the cycle of birth and death. But chapter 3 is telling, no, chapter 3 is giving us the knowledge. Yes, lust is binding, but if you know how to attack the lust, then you can get liberated. So it's guiding us how to come out of this. Okay, so we can think from that angle also. Okay, so what is in summary? 3 to 9, it is all about doing of course, 1 to 2, which is karma or tyaga. Then Krishna says, do nishkam karma yoga. And then he gives the path from 10 to 16, karma kanda to karma yoga, right? By when we start doing the sacrifice for the demigods. But again, this is something if people only want to live at the level of karma yoga. But if somebody is doing bhakti yoga, then one need not worry about the sacrifice for the demigods. Because anything we are doing for Krishna, it itself is a sacrifice for directly for Krishna. And all the sacrifices ultimately go to Krishna. Right? Then we don't need to worry about the sacrifice for the other people. And this you will see as the chapter progresses, you will see this message will come out. Okay. Verse 17 to 35 is telling that how to become a good role model, how to become a good example for others. And then 36 says, what is that force which is making us do wrong things? And then the answer is lust. And then he says that how to attack that inner enemy lust. And he gives the guidance to us. So that is the chapter 3 in a nutshell. Okay. Any question? Any question? Is that chapter 3 is making sense, Prabhus, Mata? Balu Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Hima Mataji,
Yes, Prabhu.
Santosh Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
okay, and Sapan Prabhuji, okay, and Siva Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu. Good, Prabhu.
okay, all right. So we'll go to chapter 4. Let me first drink some water. Start.
Okay.
Prabhuji? Thank you. So chapter 4. So we will use the slide initially. So I'm going to try this, give you some context, and then we'll dive into chapter 4, right, from the verses. So chapter 4 the topic is transcendental knowledge, right? The knowledge which is beyond the material world. That is, whenever our Shastra says knowledge, it talks about the transcendental knowledge, because that is the real knowledge. Otherwise, everything else is very temporary. Now, of course, karma yoga, we say that, okay? So, when we feel defeated by bad habits, what is how we feel? We feel,
Disgusting.
yeah, embarrassed, right? Defeated, embarrassed, right? And so chapter 4 is going to give that information. Through that, we know that how to understand it better, and then how we can avoid these mistakes in our life. Okay, so will be guiding how to win the inner battle. Okay, and then how to manage our feelings. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, the real enemy is within you. First, win the inner battle. So, and that is the battle for all of us. We have the inner battle to fight. We don't have our external battle is not like Arjuna. We are not fighting the Mahabharat outside, but we all are fighting the Mahabharat inside ourselves. Okay. So, chapter 3 was how can we win over the inner enemy lust? And chapter 4 is by development of transcendental knowledge, we can win over inner enemy lust. How? So what this transcendental knowledge? So there are three sitting places of lust, right? What are the three sitting places of lust?
Senses.
Senses,
Mind,
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 intelligence.
intelligence.
intelligence. So chapter 4 is helping with what? Is helping with senses, it's helping with the mind, is helping with the intelligence.
Intelligence.
Okay, yes, it is going to provide the transcendental intelligence, how to make the decision. Okay, so that's what chapter 4 is going to help us with by the knowledge. So chapter 4 will start like what is this knowledge, how is it received, how that leads to Nishkama Karma Yoga, and how is knowledge born. So these are the topics is going to talk about. So first 4.1 will be talking about the history of Bhagavad Gita, how it was received, from where it was received, right? So it will talk about that. So it will go into like that how you'll see that Krishna is telling that the knowledge always existed, but it appears to be lost. So he's telling that I came and gave it to sun god. From that, it was received by Manu, right? And Manu then gave to Ikshvaku. And now then after that, the knowledge seems to be disappeared. Then I came back. Again, I have come back to re-give the knowledge, right? So he will go into that. You will hear what Krishna has to speak. Okay. Uh, so Bhagavad Gita is time tested and it gives benefit to every people. Now there are few things, right? You see, people say that our knowledge is mythology. So we just wanted to see what is the difference between mythology and history. So some of the things are given here. Okay, so can you quickly read it and tell me, do you agree? Does it make sense? You're able to read, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah. Because typically you'll see that lot of Western people and even our own Indian people, they call that our mythology. When they're referring to the Ramayana, they'll say our mythology. Right? So basically what we are denying, we are saying that, oh, this is just a myth, this is a story exists, but this a story is more like a analogy or more like a what do you call I'm getting English. I'm not getting English word. It's like more like an example, right? It is more like an example to teach us the lesson. That's what it is, right? But it is not. That's not true because if you look into all the places which are being called in Mahabharata, those places still exist. Like you'll see Gandhar, where is the Kuru dynasty, the Panchal, Mathura, Dwarika, right? Those things still exist. And you see the picture Akshay Vatvriksha, where which was where the Gita was spoken, right? So those things which has been called out still exist. So that is not a mythology. It is a historical. They are historical evidence to prove that this really happened. Okay, so when people uh, argue with us, we should know some of the facts. We don't need to argue back, but for our own conviction, first of all, for our own conviction, we should know about it, right? And then we should be educated enough. If somebody is talking intelligently, we should be able to talk intelligently with them. Okay. Then, of course, the verse 2 will talk about how it is coming in the parampara. right? So parampara, the importance of parampara will be talked about, the second and three. Uh, and then Arjuna will question, it seems that our age is the same. Your age and my age is similar. How come you know it? I don't know it. So then he says that because you have taken many births, but you have forgotten everything. But I remember everything all the time. So I know what has happened. So this is how the knowledge will start. Okay. And it will go into the further detail. How is my appearance? How I take birth. It's not a that I take birth and then die. It is like I appear and disappear. Who understand this? This who understand this, they will get liberated. Right? Understanding that God is not like us is a very important fact. Right? And if we understand and we take shelter of that fact, then we will start understanding Bhagavad Gita in a way it has to be understood. Right? And then this is the Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, the famous verse. So verse 7 and verse 8 we will be reading, which was made famous by the Mahabharata. Okay. And we will go into that. And then we will, this is very important, like incarnation. So it says that how the different incarnation happens. We will, for that time we will use the slide. That time I'll come to the slide and I'll explain you all the different expansion and how there are different kind of avatars. So we will go into little bit. So these all things will be coming from the various different sastras. This is additional thing we will go over so that it makes more sense to all of us. Okay. So this will be our sequence. This is the quick first 7, 8 verses, and then I'm going back to the direct Bhagavad Gita verses now. Okay. We'll see if this method help you to set little bit more context. All right. So the way this is divided into 6 sections. The first 4 verses will be the lineage of transcendental knowledge, parampara. Okay. Um, so Krishna will be talking about, we are talking how it came from sun god to Manu to Ikshvaku. So those things, and then the historical significance. And the second section will enter the divine nature of Lord Krishna's appearance. So let me only say two of these sections, then we'll go and cover more that how the other sections are being covered. And by the way, you all have the access to this. Is anybody who doesn't know how to access this OneNote? Do you know how to access this OneNote? Okay, yeah, it is in the WhatsApp link also, right? WhatsApp description, you will see the link. All right, so let's start. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sri Bhagavan Vacha
Imam Vivashvate Yogam
Imam Vivasvate Yogam
Proktavanaham Abhyam
Aham Avyayam
Vivashvan Manava Paraha
Asman Raha
Manurikshvakah Bhavit.
Manarikshvaka Brahmi.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So now Lord is telling that when the universe was created, how he passed this information to sun god. So Vivashvan is the sun god, is the name of our sun god for this current period. His name is Vivashvan. So for different yugas, there are different personalities who are given the charge of being a sun god. Okay, just like the Indra is a post, sun god is a post also. So Vivashvan is the person. Okay, and then Vivashvan instructed it to Manu. And how many Manus are there in one Chaturvyuha, one Divya Yuga? How many Manus are there? 14, right? So Vishwan instructed it to our current Manu. He's the main progenitor. And then Manu in turn instructed to the Ikshvaku. So Ikshvaku says the first dynasty instructed to Ikshvaku. So Then here is, so this is the history of um, Bhagavad Gita. Here he says, in this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivashwan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, right? Oh, oh, is it, okay. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, let the worship, let me worship, Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, who is the original person and under whose order the sun and under who is the original person under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. The sun, so sun is the king of the planets. Okay, so this is the reference is coming from Brahma Samhita. So, and then Vivaswan instructed to his first disciple, which was Manu. And then further is giving the reference in Mahabharata. We can trace out the history of the Gita as follows. So in the beginning of the millennium, known as Treta Yuga, this science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by, so in Treta Yuga, right? In Treta Yuga, it was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. And Manu, being the father of the mankind, gave to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, his son. Okay. And then the king, and he was the king of this earth planet, and forefather of the Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Right? So this has existed for a long time. Now it is going into some of the time period. And in the slides, you saw the summary of it, but let me go here. So, you know, Kali Yuga, what is the time of the Kali Yuga? 432,000 years. Okay. Dwapar Yuga is double of that, which is around 864. This is just estimation. It is 864,000 years. And Treta Yuga is 3 times of the Kali Yuga, which is around 1.2 million years. So thus around, so if you add it up all, like, because it happened three yugas before, right? That means it's Treta Yuga, right? So if you add up all those things, so around 20 million years ago, right? Oh, sorry, around 2 million years ago. So this knowledge was given around 2 million years ago. Manu spoke Bhagavad Gita to Maharaj Ikshvaku. Around 2 million years ago, it was passed from Manu to Ikshvaku, right? The king of this planet Earth. And the age of the current Manu is calculated to last some around how much? 305 million years. So that is of which 120 million years have passed. Excepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vivashwan. A rough estimate is that Gita was spoken at least 120 million years ago. And in human society, it has been extant for 2 million years. So it was re-spoken by Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. So it is the quick, what is it? Yeah, it's of course Guru Parampara, it's a history. So we are talking about the history of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. All right. So verse 2. Evam parampara praptam
Evam parampara praptam
imam rajarsayo vidhu
evam rajashayo viduhu
sakalena mata
kalena mahata
yogo nasta parantapa.
nashta parantapa.
So we'll ask Shiva Prabhu to speak. So our Shiva Prabhu, he is speaking very nicely. Prabhu, go speak. You're singing very nicely. Sing the words. No, don't be shy. I know that. Don't be shy. Okay, speak. Okay, speak.
Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshyo viduhu sakalene mahata yogo nashta parantapa.
So our Shiva Prabhu, he has been practicing all the chapters. He's going chapter by chapter and singing it. So he is spending time on that. So we all should. It's very nice. He has the dedication to go and do that and learn it properly. So translation, this supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. So what did we learn? That this knowledge was at least given 120 million years ago. But there was a time period when it seems that it was lost, right? It's because the knowledge always exists. We call it Shabda Brahman. So through the word, the Lord's word permeates the whole universe. So it's there, but it appears to be lost. Then Lord comes during that time and he re-imparts. So that's when it was re-imparted 5,120 years ago when the time of Mahabharata, right? So it is clearly stated the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings. So Gita is meant for the saintly kings. It is just not for the Brahmin. It is for the ruler, the people who are ruling. So this is the science of work, right? The science of ruling. So it is very, very important knowledge for all of us who within our purview we are trying to rule, we are trying to control our family, we are trying to control our environment, right? If we understand from the eyes of Gita, then we'll see that what is the right way to approach our work, our family, our relationship, all those things. So it is the emphasis is given to the saintly king. So our kings used to be all very saint. They're like they were not attached to their kingdom. They were attached to the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And you'll see a lot of examples in our scriptures on that. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demonic person who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretation according to personal whims. So, see, like people make the interpretation on the personal whims. They want to get out of something from Bhagavad Gita. Like there's management book, right? Or self-help book based on Bhagavad Gita. But that is not the purpose. Means, of course, we can derive all those things because it it is much wider, right? So those things are already there. But the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita, no, not this Bhagavad Gita, in general. What is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita?
To know that we are souls and to be able to go back to Godhead.
Go back to Godhead, okay? Yes. It is giving us it is a guide for us to go back to Godhead. And what is while we are on this earth, what is our role, how we should live the life, right? So this is what Bhagavad Gita tells us. Okay. So verse 3. स एवाम मया तेद्या
Evaya maya teda
योगा प्रोक्ता पुरन्तः
yoga prukta puratanaha
पुरातनः भक्तोऽमि मे सखा
bhaktosi me sakha
सखा चेति भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति
भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति
sakha cheti
रहस्यं हे एतद् उत्तमम्.
रहस्यं
rahasya
हि तदुत्तमम्.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotees as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So why Krishna is giving this knowledge to Arjuna? Why? What is the main thing?
Is the devotee.
What Krishna is saying, good devotee, or is giving some special name to him? You are my devotee and what?
Friend.
Yeah, my devotee and you are my friend. So Krishna likes relationship. So you build the relationship, then this knowledge which is given to Arjuna can be directly, it will get revealed to us through the agency of Paramatma within our heart. Okay, if we build the relationship with Krishna and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Okay, so uh, there are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. So you tell me, what is the main difference between devotee and the demon?
Demon has a hatred and is always jealous of God and his devotees,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the devotees are they like the way Lord likes whatever Lord recommends, the good qualities they have, all that devotees also like them and um, try to follow the instructions.
Okay. So see, yeah, so you are right. I'll give you the simple thing. The simple thing is the Devatas, they follow the instruction of Krishna.
Right.
And the demons, they don't follow the instruction
They
of
don't.
Krishna. That's the simple. The one who follows the instruction, they are become the demigod. They don't follow, they become the demon. Otherwise, from the capability perspective, they both are very capable. They are both very capable. One is choosing not to follow the instruction, and that's the reason they are. Uh, uh, Krishna doesn't favor them.
So how do they become capable? Is it because of their gurus, respective gurus?
Yeah. So
Pracharya?
yeah, capable means from the perspective that see, the demons are also very powerful, right? They are very powerful. It's not that, so it's not that Lord has made one powerful and other not powerful. He has made equally like, so
They
they
have
are,
to perform austerities.
yeah, they can all do all the stuff. But in one cases, they are thinking about themselves and not listening to Krishna. Another, in the others are willing to listen to Krishna. So they become devatas, and another becomes the demons. And then whenever there is a problem with the devatas, Krishna comes and helps them because they are listening to Krishna. So similarly, if we listen to Krishna, we will we will be considered special to Krishna. Will be he will think about us, right? And he will help us. Okay, verse 4. So now Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Arjunovacha
Apram Bhavato Janma
Param Bhavato
Aparam
Janma
bhavato janma
Param Janma Vivashvataha
Param Janma
janma
Vivasvata
vivasvataha
Katham Etad Vikyanyam
katham
Katham
etad vijanyam
Tvam Adau Proktavan Iti.
tvamado proktavaniti.
Arjuna said, the sun god Vivashwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? So you understand this question, right? Because Arjuna is thinking, you are almost equal to me. How you know about Vivashwan that he is senior to you, right, by birth? How I am to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? So, right, very logical question. Okay, so this is what he is trying to ask. So here, of course, Prabhupada is going into that, Krishna is not ordinary. He's Sachit Anand Vigraha, right? He's the eternal form of bliss. He's not a body like us. So he's going into those kind of a detail. So Arjuna's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of person who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to the modes of material nature. So this is important aspect because see, Arjuna, he is the eternal devotee and friend of Lord Krishna. Through Bhagavad Gita, he is asking the question so it answers all the atheistic viewpoint. Right? If somebody asks how Krishna is supposed to know that, right? He was born only 5,000 years ago, right? So Arjuna is preemptively asking those questions so that the people who are asking this question, they get the answer through the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna himself answered that question. Okay, so we should understand it in that way. Does it make sense? Okay, so here I will directly go to Bhagavad Gita verses because I face okay, verse 5. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Bhagavan Vacha
Bahuni me vyatitani
Bhuvani me Viditani
janmani tava charjuna
Janmani Tava Charjuna
tanyaham veda sarvani
Namyaham Sarvani
na tvam vetah parantapa.
Natvam Veta Parantapa.
The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. So now Krishna is telling that don't think that he's like Arjuna. He's telling that I'm not like a I have a different kind of a body. So now it gets into the detail. This is the real knowledge. Trying to give. Don't see Krishna from the surface that he just has a two hand and a head and the two eyes just like us. Right? It's not like that. So Krishna is giving is telling, and now Prabhupada through the purport he is giving more citation on that. So from a Brahma Samhita. So it is Advaitam Achyutam Anindam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navaya Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Sorry, my meter is broken. The Vardha it songs very beautifully. Yeah. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person, always appearing as fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholar, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So this form, which Krishna is trying to describe, cannot be understood by the best scholar, but to a very simple, unalloyed devotee, it 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 gets becomes very clear because the Lord helps us reveal Himself within our heart. Okay, and then further in the Brahma Samhita, so that was in 33, in verse 39, it is says, "I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, Krishna, uh, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Narsimha, and many sub incarnation as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna and who incarnates personally also. So when Krishna has many incarnations, tell me some example of the incarnations of Krishna. Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Prabhu is telling, yeah, Narsimha avatar, Vamana avatar. But then he's further what is telling? When Krishna came, is it an avatar or is it he himself?
He descends himself.
Yeah, so Prabhu is telling he descended himself because this is what the scripture is telling. In Srimad Bhagavatam also, here it is telling that sometimes Krishna appears as in original personality. He appears as Krishna, right? He appears himself. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam also he says that he talks about many incarnations, but then he says that Krishna is the original, right? Krishna, the form which when he descends here, he descends in original form. So there's further so here say the Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita. This I'm reading here. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in the material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respect, even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjuna. So even if we become as liberated as Arjuna, still we won't be able to understand the Lord or become equal to the Lord. Okay? There's no question about that. Lord is Vibhu, we are Anu. So even we get liberated, we are not going to become equal to him. Okay? So although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord. Whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. And this is the reason why people can argue forever that, oh, Krishna is just like a ordinary person who was characterless, stole the dresses of the gopis, who did that, because they don't understand this leela, why these leelas are happening, how to understand it, right? So they are unfortunate. They are very unfortunate people. Okay. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by the demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjuna could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. Okay. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body, but the Lord remembers because he does not change his Sachinanand body. Right? That is the other logical way to understand. See, whenever one is changing the body, one forgets. Lord remembers everything because Lord body always remains the same. Right? He is Advaita. He is no distinction between his body and his himself. So our body and the soul is two different things. But for his body and the soul is one and the same. Right? It's non-identical. It's, it's identical. Sorry, means it cannot be discriminated. Okay, verse 6. Yajopi san avya, avya, avyaya atma
Kopi
अजोपि
sannavyayatma
सन्नगयात्मा
bhutanamishvaropi san
bhutanameshwaropi san
ईश्वरोऽपि सन्
prakritim swam adhyastaya
kritim swamadhisthaya
sambhavami atma mayaya.
sambhavamyatmamayaya.
Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So now here Lord himself is telling, you know, I originally appear as a person. See, Lord is telling is still we sometimes we don't believe it, right? And that is the true illusion. Right? So he's telling that I am unborn. So it means that it appears that Lord was born, but he's telling I'm unborn. So how to understand it? That's the reason the word is used. He appears. So then he gives, because he's coming in this world to just give illusion to the other people, like to non-devotee, it seems that he is getting born. But Lord is not getting born. He appears. So it goes into a detail. If you look into the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, or Prabhupada has written Krishna book. So it is very nice to read Krishna book. It is in the a very nice story form, especially if you have kid or every day. It is recommended before we go to sleep, we should read the Krishna book. Right? Of course, I am also not able to read the Krishna book, but I have read it once, completely end to end. And the stories are just amazing. The first four chapter goes into lot of detail about his appearance. And all those things are coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada has done a tremendous job in putting in a very simple way. Okay. So there he says that how he appeared first, he appeared in the Vasudev heart. Right. From there, then he transferred himself to the Devaki's womb, right? So he appears. So and then he appeared with a four-handed form. Then Devaki and Vasudeva, they said, no, no, please become like not a four-handed form, come as a human normal form. So then the Lord converted into two-handed form. Okay, so it gives all those details. When once we understand that, will it gives a little bit more understanding to this Bhagavad Gita verse. Okay, so although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium. Millennium means in every cycle, one big cycle of means one every Divya Yuga, Lord still appears. Okay, in his own transcendental form. So, so Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything. of his many past birth, whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. So, and that's true, right? Many times if you ask, hey, Shiva Prabhu, what did you eat 3 days ago? Shiva Prabhu may not remember. If Shiva Prabhu asks the same question, I may not remember. You ask me what I ate yesterday, probably I may not remember. But Krishna remembers everything. Okay? So one should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his Prakriti or his form. Prakriti means what is his nature, what is Sarup, right? So Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body, right? So we change the body, but Lord doesn't change his body. And then, although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. So it is said that Lord Krishna, doesn't matter which yuga he comes, he is always 16-year-old. So even Lord lived on this world from the material calculation. Do you know for how many years he lived?
125 around.
How much, Sir Prabhuji?
125 years.
125 years. Still, he looked like the youth, 1600-year-old boy. Okay, he never aged beyond that. Even after all the war, and even if he had all the grandchildren, still he looked the same young. Okay, so his appearance and disappearance was like the sun's rising and moving before us and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun has set. And when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position. But owing to our defective insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance is completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that his eternal blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. And this is confirmed in the Vedas, right? So Prabhupada is giving all this example, that how Lord never takes birth. He appears and disappears. Then he's using the analogy to prove the point. Okay, then he has given many citations to prove the point that who Krishna is. Okay, so we will. Okay, we can cover. Let's see the verse. Okay, this. Okay, so we'll stop here. We don't want to rush. So we'll start from chapter verse 7 in the next class. And as you all know that next week. So tomorrow is, what is tomorrow? Does anybody know?
Balram Purnima, Rakhi Purnima.
Yes, Balram Jayanti. So tomorrow is the appearance of Balramji, and then next Monday, what is that?
Janmashtami.
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 Janmashtami, yes. So there will be a lot of celebration. Um, it will be great if you would like to participate by volunteering and doing the seva. That will be awesome. And you can do the fasting. Tomorrow is the fasting. I think that's until noon. You can fast. And then Janmashtami, a lot of devotees, they do the full day fasting. A lot of devotees, they do the nirjal without the water. So depending on what is palatable to your body, you can take some austerity. Okay, so if if it allows, you can take off from that day. You can spend more time doing seva, sadhana, whatever works for you. Okay, so we should not stress ourselves. The most important thing is we should celebrate. We should celebrate in whatever circumstances is possible. Okay, so that's the announcement. Anything else I'm missing? Probably. Okay, I don't recollect. Okay, so I don't recollect right now, but yeah. So we'll end the class at this point of time. I'll stop the recording. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna to all
Hare
of
Krishna
you.
Prabhu.